We developed a team of a representative group of stakeholders from across the state, which when I say all levels of the system, we're referring to state, region, district, and school level, because we wanted to ensure that we had representatives from all of those levels, that we heard all voices from across the state. We also ensured that we had math experts on the team as well as special education experts, because special education, that's the focus, is students with disabilities and improving proficiency in mathematics. So one of the first things that we did is, we developed that team. We reviewed the research on math instruction. We did a literature review to see, what does the literature say in terms of what is good quality math instruction. We also conducted an initiative inventory to see what are those widely used math practices from across the state. And then once we conducted that inventory, we conducted the literature review, we then started to dig deeper into the inventory as far as those math practices that were on there. And we started to narrow that list down based on what our specific focus area was. So our target population is students with disabilities, but we were doing that through core instruction because of our least restrictive environment in Kentucky is so high. I think it's around 74% of students with disabilities are in the general education classroom at least 80% of the day. So we use that to help to narrow that. We looked at our focus area, and then once we narrowed it, once we narrowed down the number of innovations, we then took them through a deeper analysis through the use of the hexagon tool, which was incredibly helpful to help us to determine, what gaps there might have been with a particular innovation or initiative. And so once we went through the hexagon tool, we were able to narrow it down to a few practices. And once we looked at those practices, we really started to pinpoint what are the commonalities among all these practices? What are the core features that we're able to identify among those practices? And through that, we were able to identify 8 core features, which we then use to help us to develop a practice profile, which helps us to clearly define and operationalize those practices. And so really that's what the work of that team, what they did to help ensure that we had a usable innovation.